When I was 10 years old, my sister passed away. It was actually a bike accident. She was 8 years old, I was 10. We were alone at home, and I grabbed my little sister and we rode to town to go buy some chocolate, and I crossed the road first and she followed me, and she got hit by a car and died on the spot. I'm someone who doesn't cope very well with such traumas. It affected our family a lot. My parents got a divorce a year later. I believe to a certain extent it also made me the athlete I am. I could really hurt myself very badly in sport. I could go beyond sometimes what is still reasonable, and I believe very much those stories are a big part of it. Sport as such was a sort of therapy for me. I used to be a swimmer. It helped me to kind of put everything back in order. It's kind of a state of meditation as well. When you're doing an endurance sport, you can kind of just calm your mind and structure things a little bit and get perspective. And cycling was especially nice because I could be out in nature. But then when I turned professional, a whole new aspect came to it, because it is just more pressure on you. We struggled financially quite a lot, me and my ex-husband, when we started off, and also the sacrifice of moving to another country, leaving my environment, and basically back then putting everything on one card, which is the sport, put me into a very vulnerable situation, and was probably not very smart for my mental health. I really put that on a very high risk, and I fell into a very deep depression as soon as I turned pro. If I want to be mentally healthy, I need to quit. But on the other side, I so need the sport. I need to be out there. So I was very much thinking, how can I do it in another way? And that's when I started going to therapy again. That's when I started to take medication. Well, I was speaking to a therapist and he recommended it to me. I never wanted to take any drugs for this because, like every other person who hears about depression, or the common stigma is that you you can just pull yourself together. You can change your mind. Why don't you just be happy? That's exactly how I thought about how depression works. You can get yourself out of it yourself. I was so wrong, and I now know because I experienced it with myself how different life has become. Basically how this cloud just cleared up, and I can not just think more clearly, more realistic. I don't have emotional outbreaks anymore, which are incredibly embarrassing. I don't have so many deep holes anymore that I always fall into. It's basically, I have much more ground under my feet, and I can function. That's the most important thing, where I often really felt I couldn't function properly anymore, and everything just gets out of my hands. And that's why I became extremely controlling, because I couldn't control my emotions. I needed to control everything else around me. Food, my socializing. I completely isolated myself, and I was so vulnerable at that stage that I didn't want to see anyone anymore. And obviously that just makes everything so much worse. The first step to get better was to admit that I had a problem. that I really had a problem, a mental illness, you know. So that was the first step, and then the therapy with a psychologist really helped me to see things in perspective and understand properly what is going on in my head. And then obviously the medication was just keeping me at a level where I could see things more clearly. And I was very, very glad that I didn't quit cycling, because I actually have an incredible passion for it. And now that I am not as overwhelmed by the stress and the pressure that cycling puts on me, I can really enjoy the nice part of it. I love to go out on my bike now when I'm healthy. It's the best thing ever.